Yo, 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 LOLeros. This episode of Latinos Out Loud is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965.
Wow, and if you're a listener of our show, you know that we absolutely love McDonald's.
Love McDonald's, Jamie, love.
Yeah, look, McDonald's was like my fast food crush when I was in grade school, okay?
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I used to scribble like I heart McDonald's on my notebooks. Yeah, it was a little weird. But look, we love McDonald's for plenty of reasons, right? You know, because like the Big Mac can cure even the grumpiest of moods. When I'm in a bad mood, I'm not gonna lie, I have a Big Mac, all of a sudden, I have a big mood shift. It's like I'm rewarding myself after a long day, and I deserve it.
You do deserve it, Jamie, and I see you. Big Mac equals big mood shift. I see you.
Yeah, we're making breakthroughs today. But today, look, we want to talk about another huge reason why we all love McDonald's. It's because when we're there, the crew members truly make us feel like we're right at home and part of their McDonald's community.
They sure do. Jamie, can I share a quick McDonald's story?
I was hoping you would.
Oh, thanks. I love the anticipation. So, I'm a mom out there in the streets, and we be rolling up in the McDonald's of Spanish Harlem, and I have to give a big shout out to Stephanie, because little man be paying for McDonald's, and, we like to bypass the kiosk, because the kiosk is a little impersonal, and I want them to learn the manners, waiting for food, paying for stuff. So she always loves it when they roll up to the counter and they pay, because, they're looking for somebody eye level, but then she looks down and sees my little people paying for their own Happy Meals, and it's a really cute and endearing moment, and it's also educational. So shout out to everybody in Spaha McDonald's, you know what I'm saying, Jamie?
And look, whether you have that one crew member who always remembers that you like your Big Mac with an extra pickle, or the crew member who always greets you in the drive-thru with a warm smile, or, Anna Stephanie who hooks up you and your kids like Rachel has. We just want to thank you McDonald's crew members everywhere for making our McDonald's visits even more special.
Gracias. McDonald's, I'm loving it. It's the Latinos Out Loud podcast. Yo, women, I'm female and I'm happy,
Dímelo.
P power, P.
Yo.
Oh. Okay. I'm not sending out that message, but I am. Maybe that's like the universal call for the P's to unite. Blah, 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 blah. As you can see, I'm not anyway, don't have skills in certain regions. Literally. So this is the Latinos Out Loud podcast. LOL, y'all. LO freaking L.
L.
How do y'all feel about that? LOL. Hi, I'm your friend, tu amiguita from Brooklyn, but now in Manhattan, repping up in the sky, you know what I'm saying?
Money making.
To my dog and shit. Rachel La Loca.
All right.
What's
Who
up,
else
yo?
is in the building?
Yo amiguito from uptown, J Ferns.
Say motherfucking Ferns, yo.
Uptown, baby.
Oh.
Uptown, baby.
Get
down, baby.
Oh,
Up
baby.
Ground, baby.
Yo amiguito from right up the block, from Washington Heights, Frank Nibs, aka Frank Spiracy, up in the building, you know what I'm saying?
I don't be fooled by the rocks in his watch. That's just Frank from the block.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, baby?
Used to have a little, now we got a lot of conspiracies. Yeah, you got a lot of them.
Oh yeah, all day. You know how it is.
So that's the L, the O, and the L. That spell LOL, and we are here. You know what I'm saying? It's so good to be back, yo. Another episode, yo. Where we at? 300 and something, because we passed that 300 threshold.
Change.
Yeah, anything above 300, it's really just excitement, really, because
like the movie 300,
Ooh, yes.
This is Sparta,
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
A little bit Sparta now.
A little bit Sparta now.
love
I
it.
love movies about gladiators, shirtless
Mm.
gladiators. That's what Rachel was gonna say. I love movies about shirtless gladiators.
I wasn't gonna say it out loud, but I'm glad you said it. You know, there's something about like a gladiator on a chariot with no
With spray on abs, because that whole movie they all had spray. They all had spray on abs in the movie 300. It's just a
I'm-
bunch. It's 300 sprayed on abs.
I'm not mad at spray on abs, okay? Because if I had access to that spray, I'd probably spray them on myself because it's absolutely impossible for me to get defined abs.
Absolutely.
After having 2 kids, I'm convinced I could do all the workouts in the world. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get a 6-pack. I'm just not. I don't know.
Imagine
I
what if I'm like if I sprayed spray on abs, but I went too low, I'd be like, that means like you're. But like I never seen a penis with abs before.
Girl, Jamie has penis abs. I have never
Penis
seen anything
abs.
like
It was
that.
like so how big was it? Forget size. It was ripped.
He must do these like fupa workouts because his like fupa was brolic and like solid.
Brolic.
Yeah.
His left testicle definitely works out.
Are there testicle exercises? I'm curious because I don't
There's
know.
always one bigger.
Bro,
There's always
how
one
much-
bigger than the other.
How much
Oh,
does your dick bench?
How much did you dig bench?
How much does your dick bench, bro? This is
Bruh.
if the spray on abs went a little bit lower by accident. This is what
Yeah. Like girls, we do Kegels, right? That's
What's
those
that?
are
guys could do Kegels too.
guys can do Kegels, like ball.
Yeah, it's like you
Kegels?
hold in your piss. You hold in your piss.
And what does that do? It
What?
makes your testicles tighter.
No, it makes you less it helps you for when you kind of are intimate, you won't go as quick. Because
Yo, I never knew
now you have the
Oh.
power to
hold
hold
it.
to hold it in if it gets
Wow.
in there.
Wow.
That's really fun. Well, look, Kegels is something that us females talk about a lot. Like, not for nothing. We talk about
Oh.
it because it's, said to keep things tight down there. So shout out to all the girls. And I think Sex in the City really popularized Kegels too.
Okay.
Keeping it tight.
Samantha.
Keeping it tight.
Mhm,
Oh, that's not
mhm.
something that your mom kind of told you about when you were younger. Like, mira,
No,
nena, I
Keep
gotta
it
tell you
tight,
about.
girl.
I gotta tell you about the birds, the bees, and the Kegels.
And the giggle.
I don't know how my mom would ever have that conversation with me. That is a really interesting thing. Are there any
Wow.
moms out there that have told their daughters that you like LOLeros, holler at us at We Are Latinos Out Loud and let us know if you've ever been on the receiving end of Kegel advice from your mom?
Oof.
I think my mother thinks the Kegels is like a gang. Mira, I don't want you to be associated with the Kegels, with those Kegels, okay?
But yo, speaking of gangs, I do want to
Mhm.
talk about the girl gang. Gang, gang,
Ooh.
gang. Girl
I love
gang.
girl gangs. I
Girl
love girl
gang.
gang gang
Let's
gangs.
go,
I love
girl
girl
gang.
gangs.
Gang, gang, gang.
That's my stuff.
I wanted to celebrate, which we often do here on the Latinos Out Loud podcast. I want to celebrate a little win. You know what I'm saying? A little win under my chin.
All right.
I want to
All I
shout
do
out
is
my
win
Win,
under my
win,
chin.
win, win, win.
Well, look, guys, I want to celebrate the 150 recipients of
Damn.
the American Express and Luminary Fellowship of 2022, and your girl Rachel La Loca is one of those 150 recipients.
Yeah. Hold on, Rachel. Time out. Did I hear luminary?
Luminary.
Oh
We-
man, you made
we
it up
know-
there.
We
You
know
made it
that
up there,
brand.
girl. You made it.
Damn. You
Let me
luminous.
tell you
You
guys.
luminous right now.
Yeah. You just with that. I don't know. It just sounds like another word, but it sounds. Yeah. Love it.
It's a beautiful word and it's also a beautiful company. Shout out to Luminary and American Express. If you guys aren't familiar with Luminary, Luminary is a female owned co working space and they have buildings, they're all over the world.
Wait, is this like a she work?
Yeah.
Jamie, that
Yeah.
was
We work,
so
she work.
amazing.
Yo,
That
I mean,
is-
hello. I'm pretty sure
it
that's how
is
they probably pitched it like that in the room.
Yeah.
That's a great way to pitch it. That's exactly what it is. And I went there recently for a video shoot with former guest Maria Rodriguez of Cosmic Love, who asked me to do a one-on-one interview with her as she wanted to air out some stuff that she experienced while shooting Cosmic Love and afterwards as well. And we were at Luminary. Shout out to another former guest and friend of the room, Ellie Jazz, who also works at
Ellie.
Luminary. So I went there for the shoot, and I basically see this plastic, one of those photo frames promoting a Latina small business owned or a fellowship that's going to be awarded to Latina small business owners. So I applied. You never know, you never know. I
You never know.
applied and I got it. And I'm so excited. And today was the welcome Zoom meeting where I was among the 150 Latina recipients. And even though we were over Zoom, there was a magic, there was an energy to be among all those Latina entrepreneurs.
Ooh,
Yeah, yo.
that's a
It was-
that's a powerful thing right there.
And right away, the chat was bling, 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 bling,
Ding,
bling, bling,
ding, ding,
bling.
ding, ding,
The
ding.
chat on the Zoom was bling, bling, nail 2022. Everybody was like, yo, this is my business. Yo, this is my Instagram. Yo, this is my LinkedIn. All these new followers that I hit
God.
follow back right away. I could see what this is going to be. A lot of cross-pollination. And I'm really excited to be among these women. And I'm very thankful to American Express and Luminary for giving me this opportunity. So thank you.
Mm,
Yo, an
Nice.
American Express involved. You know that ain't
You
that ain't no
know?
joke.
and
I'm trying to
Illuminary.
never leave home without it. You know what I'm
You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
Okay. Membership has its privileges. One of them is the tagline. So, yo, it's really exciting to talk about all this female magic because then Frank and I went to another very powerful and magical event. Frank, you
Yeah.
should lead this conversation because sadly, it was an earlier event. I had to cook the chicken nuggets before I could head out of here. So I got there
Yeah.
late and I missed a very, I think, integral part of the conversation, which I'm so sad about. But why don't you tell everybody, like, what we experienced with gender wars just last night?
We went to a beautiful event right by Grand Central Station, overlooking like the buildings up in in the middle of 42nd Street, to a beautiful event named Gender Wars, with a lovely lady by the name of Victoria Jen Rodriguez. I believe she was a guest on here already, right?
Former guest of the show.
And
Yeah.
it was two panels. One of the panels was women, obviously, and the other panel was men. And both panels spoke about, the differences in men and women and how they relate in actual relationships and in the business world. And it was a nice cross in how we relate to each other when it comes to relationships and in the business world, and how to better navigate that. Because right now, there's a lot of issues going on between the genders, so to speak. You have guys like Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate, that women sometimes, despise or hate. And those type of guys, just like are plucking away at women that are single and looking for men, and they can't, find that sweet spot and find those mates in their lives, or the love of their lives. So this event, touched on that, and it was amazing. There was I don't know, Rachel, this maybe was like 75 women and maybe like 10 men. So for me,
yeah,
it was like a dream come true.
One-sided.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Oh my God. Yeah, so Rachel came. After the women came, after the women got off, and then when the men were there, that's when Rachel came in. So Rachel, you take it from there. What did you think after you heard all of that?
Well, it was a really interesting conversation to be in the audience for, because there were questions that were asked that had people a little stumped, or, with the need to really organize their words, especially when it came to the men. Por ejemplo, Victoria Jen Rodriguez, who was the moderator and
Right.
host of this whole thing, asked the men, when was the last time, and tell us about when a woman has emasculated you.
Oh,
So
Right.
we were we were
what is
talking
this,
about
therapy? Damn.
Yeah, it was deep, man. It was really, it was like
basically.
in depth, man. It was in depth, man. It was in
She
depth.
wants
Jamie,
to
you're
know-
good. Jamie, look, you're good. Like guys like me are looking for a mate, so maybe it's a little difficult for us. So you know.
No, I know, but if I got that question, I'd be like, Sister Teresa, 3rd grade, Lady Queen of Martyrs, grammar school. But no,
Victoria, she wants to
But
hear the examples. And I love that because maybe we need to hear the examples so that we can grow from them and also reroute our behavior as women a little
Mm.
bit,
Mhm.
or be a little more sensitive to those feelings. I learned a lot about men's feelings last night. I thought that was interesting. And I want to shout out the men right now. I want to shout out the men who are protectors. And when I say that, I mean both physical and just protective of us as females, our brand, our feelings, who we are, our emotions, the fact that we are built differently. You know what I'm saying? That takes a
yeah,
lot to really understand on the daily, whether you work with a lot of women, live with a lot of women, have nothing but sisters or have nothing but daughters, or, your significant other. Mars and Venus, baby. And also, I think we have a lot of work to do as a society, as men and women in 2022. We're learning,
Mhm.
Me Too was a crucial pivot in
right,
our coexistence.
right.
And I think we have to continue to learn and understand that we are so different, but that's okay. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? As long as we
yes,
talk about our differences and then we work with those ebbs and flows with one another. I
yes.
appreciate Victoria Jen for what she did last night in sparking conversation. We
I
all
want to give a
felt
shout out to Candy Calderon. She was on the women's panel, Dominicana. Check her out. She spoke around our brains and how they're different in terms of women and men, and how that makes us think differently, and how we deal with situations and emotions and all these other facets that make us different. So she spoke about that. So check her out on IG. She touched in on a lot of stuff, I think, to me.
Shout out to the other panelists too, Cara Alwil and ALWILL. Like you said, Candy, she's a brain health and wellness expert and
Yo,
Latina.
Okay.
Yeah,
yo,
yo.
Check
yo,
your
she was talking like the
mentals.
inside of the brain, like it's different, like it's our stuff is like shaped different, and that's what we think. Like sometimes we don't really like go into emotions, like we're like cold, and women could go more into emotions. I don't know, man. Yeah, man.
I also heard
Yo,
that men are from Mars and women are from Venus, but I
there you
don't
go.
quote me on
That's
that. I don't know if
right.
that's fact.
I
Something.
don't think that's a fact. I think men are from somewhere further into the galaxy. I think Mars is a little too close to the sun. If I'm honest, I think they're maybe from the planet that's not a planet anymore, Pluto. Remember, Pluto got kicked out.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it exists in the educational books anymore.
Men might be from Pluto. That's my hypothesis. All right, following up to that, look, guys, I want to talk about somebody who's definitely not from outer space because he's pretty grounded and pretty amazing, and he was a guest
Grounded.
on the he was a guest
Gee,
on the
ay, ay,
Latinos.
ay, ay, ay.
Frank, sit back, all right? This is quality audio material, okay? Quality Dolby surround sound. Um Definitely grounded in his craft. I'm so excited to talk about this, and also was very excited to interview him because he's the voice on a really exciting cartoon animated series on Netflix called Waffle and Mochi's Restaurant. And guess
What?
who that stars? Yeah,
Who?
he plays Mochi, and the show stars Michelle Obama. Okay?
What?
What the hell?
Yes. It's a
KK.
show, basically an educational food show for kids. And it's so
Interesting.
exciting, right? It's on Netflix right now, so
Wow.
check it out. He's the voice of Mochi, which is what it sounds like. Mochi, he's a little
Mochi,
piece of
mochi,
Mochi
mochi.
with a
Yeah.
voice. And his best friend is a waffle. So it's
Wow.
Waffle and Mochi's restaurant. And it's with Michelle Obama, among other stars, like our interviewee, David Bizzaro. Yes, his
Oh.
last name is Bizzaro. It's
Bizarro, como
amazing.
bizarro, bizarro.
Bizzarro, doble zeta. And we had a great conversation, and I'd love to get into it right now.
Wow, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, you guys. Hi, welcome. This is the Latinos Out Loud podcast. You know what time it is, LOLeros. To all the listeners out there right now, you know the script, so say it with me. This is the part of the show where we interview someone amazing. I say it all the time, David, all the time. But you know what's one thing you won't find here at Latinos Out Loud? a lie. You won't find a lie because we don't tell them. Everyone we interview here is amazing. I'm so excited to talk to him. He's a first generation Latinx actor and puppeteer, people. And might I just add, Emmy award winning puppeteer. Please put your hands together for David Bizzaro. Woo! That's what it doubles these. So I had
Hi.
to add a little emphasis to the.
Oh, I love it. I love the energy. That's the kind of energy I bring in the mornings. And my wife is totally on the other side of the morning spectrum. And she's just like, I just need you to like slow down for just a minute. I'm so tired. So I
David,
love
so
it. I'm here for it.
I drop off my kids at school in the morning, and even the kindergarten teachers are like, could you just tone it down? Like, we're not even doing arts and crafts yet. Like, we're just feeding the kids breakfast. Like, you're
Yeah.
walking into the classroom with way too much like alphabet or story time energy. And this is more like the ascension to arts and crafts.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's like this pretty much all day, except for when I crash. But that's not now. How are you, David Bizzaro? Welcome to Latinos Out
Oh,
Loud.
thank you for having me here. This is really exciting. I love your show.
Oh.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Oh,
I
thank you.
I am doing really well. Today's a good day. I have a 6-month-old. He's my first kid.
Wow,
exciting.
congratulations. That's
Thank
still
you.
pretty new. That's a
It
new
is
one.
super new. He was sick for the last week,
I'm
and
sorry.
so he was home from daycare, and I was taking care of him. The last 3 days, my wife was out of town, so it was just me and sick baby. But he's back
Wow.
at daycare starting yesterday. So dad's gotten a break. And I
All
told my wife this morning,
right.
I love my son, but I don't love taking care of babies.
It's not
I
easy.
feel like that's fair, you know?
David, look, I have two of them, okay?
Mhm.
And they were both that age at one point. This is a really trying time. You've got to be super vigilant. You've got
Oh,
to
yeah.
be like Hawkeyes, eagle eyes. But congrats to you for
Thank you.
successfully completing daddy daycare, and also having a sick one that little is scary.
It
It's
is very scary. Yeah, it's
It's not
hard.
like they could communicate and be like, hey, dad, I need some more Vicks Vapor Rub. They can't say that yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
start programming them young. I got my 7 and 4-year-old talking about, Mom, I need more Vicks Vapor Rub, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
like a staple for us Latinos. So I'm really
Yeah.
proud of them.
I the first time he got sick, the very first cold he got was last month. And I did a TikTok, and I don't really do them very often, but I took this like audio, everyone's heard it, where it's from Lion King, where he goes, "It's time." I took that, and it's my hand reaching into a drawer and pulling Vicks Vapor Rub out and like walking
Yeah.
it over to him. And then I put it on his chest. He started feeling better. And then we go to my doctor the next day. I was like, hey, so can we use Vicks Vapor Rub on him? They're like, hey, so for infants, you're not supposed to put it on their skin. I was like, oh, all right. And so I've got a special baby Vicks Vapor Rub. I learned that there's tablets you can put in the shower. And so we put a
Oh.
tablet in the shower, and we sit like and let the room steam. And so
Oh,
he
the
gets like
steam.
the
Yes.
good Vicks Vapor Rub that way.
Yeah, Viva Porub is coming out with all these products. I'm very proud of them. They got
Yeah.
the inhaler that people get addicted to. I've seen it.
I didn't know
Have you
about the
seen
inhaler.
Oh my God.
No.
It's just a combination of things. It's like the Vicks Vapor Rub, which us Latinos are already addicted to, and then an inhaler that you stick up your nostril and sniff it up like Tony Montana. You know what I'm
Oh my
saying?
gosh.
It's weird. It's
I knew
weird.
there was like an incense you could put in your car and like another for your
Oh
keychain
my
that you could wear.
God. A
I didn't know there was
keychain!
there's a keychain version of it that you can
What?
put on your keychain. Every night you just go, give it a little
Oh my
smell.
God. What's happening? What are they doing to us? They're making us more like addicted.
They
You
know their market. They know their market.
David, do you know what I'm addicted to? The fact
Oh.
that you're a puppeteer. How often
Oh,
can
thank
I
you.
say I've met a puppeteer? Not only a puppeteer, you've done some pretty amazing work with the likes of like Sesame Street. You're an Emmy Award winner. Like, okay, LOLeros, those are our Hive members, the
I love it.
LOLeros. Okay, that's the LOL Hives. Okay, the LOL Hive, the LOLeros love to hear about these really interesting career paths. Or maybe when I say LOLeros, I'm just saying me, because I really like to hear about these super fascinating career paths, because I know there's people out there right now that are like, I wonder what it takes to be an Emmy Award winning puppeteer. You know what I'm saying? And I love your voices. I could see already how much your child must love being taken care of you, like by you, because you must whip out
Yeah.
the puppets and the voices and the fun. Oh, you're a fun dad. Okay, super loaded question, but I'd
Yeah.
love to hear more about your career path and how you ended up being an award-winning puppeteer.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. I want to share my story, and that because I find that, especially with the BIPOC community as a whole, we often don't find ourselves in this career because we don't understand that it's an option for us. And with that said, I didn't get into puppetry until I was like 28. And I didn't know that I wanted to do puppetry because I didn't know it was an option. So I started out in acting when I was about like, I was a kid. I might have been 8 or 9, somewhere around there. I wanted to be an actor. I really loved watching comedy. At some point in middle school, The Pest came out. And if you know the movie The Pest, it's John Leguizamo. It's not the best movie ever, but as a little tiny, like itty bitty boy, like seeing a Latino Jim Carrey basically for the first time blew my mind. And I was like, well, maybe this is a space that like I connected with. I didn't understand that it was resonating with me on a cultural and like ethnic level. I just knew that I kind of felt myself having access to that. And so I was like, I want to do comedy like him. So I started getting Charlie Chaplin and I started getting to Mel Brooks and like really kind of bouncing all over the place and learning as much about comedy as I could. And in school, I did theater. And my mom was like, well, let's get you out there. Let's start doing auditions for commercials and things.
Go, mom.
And yeah,
Woo!
my mom's incredible. So let's take a quick pause to talk about my mother, because
Go
she's a
ahead.
huge part of my development and my career, and my success, of course. So my mother came to this country from El Salvador when she was 16.
Salvi, represent right now.
That's right.
Represent, okay? We are Latinos Unidos here, okay?
Yeah,
So shout out to El Salvador.
absolutely. And thank you for saying that. Because also, like, well, let me talk about my mom first. So she came over when she was 16. She was fleeing the Civil War at the time. Because for listeners who don't know, because it's not super well known, some people know. In the From the 50s to the 60s, there were several genocides that happened in El Salvador. And then that sparked a civil war in the 1960s through to the 80s and like late 80s, maybe even in the 90s. And my mom fled El Salvador in 1981 or 1980 because her life was directly threatened by what was happening.
Oh
Came to the States, had me when she was 19, and, got divorced and was a single mom for a little while. And we were like growing up. She was a nanny at one point, and we were just living with a family. And we were in one room together, and she was cleaning the house, taking care of the kids. And then there was me living there. And, watching her and the way she navigated life, I learned that to be successful isn't just being successful. You don't just be successful. You have to survive first. That's the first and foremost, is survival, right? And so my mom taught me how to survive, how to speak up for myself, how to have confidence, and also how to explore my creativity. So when I say my mom took me out to go learn about acting, anytime I was curious about something creatively, she would say, well, here's a book I found at the antique store about, old classic painters. Here's a book on how to learn the piano.
Yes.
She would put those things in front of me and say, figure it out. Like, here's the information, here's the knowledge, figure it out. And now as an adult, that's what I do with everything I touch. So acting didn't quite work out for me at the time because I, just as we are all, really, this is across the entire board with everyone in the world, not all Latinos look the same. And when Hollywood at the time, and even before that, and even still now, has certain perceptions of people of color and what they should look like on screen, that is changing. And we're seeing it change in really big ways, which I'm super excited about. But when I was like 8, 9 years old, they expected me to look a certain way. And when I go to auditions, they'd be like, oh, you're not brown enough, or, oh, you're not white enough.
Ugh.
And they didn't say those words specifically, but they would like look at me and go, that this is like an audition for a Latino character, right?
Ugh.
Or they'd say like,
dagger.
oh, this is not, yeah, right. And like, this is for a white kid, right? And it's like, okay, well, where do I go? So I left acting for a little while and I got into production. Let me take a brief moment just to take a drink of my water.
Go ahead. Let all of this be absorbed into the
Yeah.
airwaves. You're talking true stories, real stories, touching stories.
Thank
Wet the
you.
palate. Go ahead. Take your water
I have to.
break.
I didn't want my mouth to sound clicky on the mic. I know that can be triggering on the headphones for whoever's listening in your headphones.
David, you have an Emmy Award in the background. You can take all the breaks you want, okay?
Oh my gosh.
Go
I
ahead.
appreciate
And
that.
I see your puppeteering tools, the tapes and the scissors.
Oh, yeah.
And my gosh, you're
I've got
a
everything you
handyman.
need back there.
Wow.
So I left acting. I got into production, learned how to be a camera operator. I got really
Wow.
fascinated with editing and storytelling, and my mom encouraged that. And my stepdad at the time was working for a production company, and he convinced them to hire me as a camera guy at like age 16. And
Holy
so,
moly.
yeah, I'm running around the country shooting documentaries and learning a real joy for just capturing imagery and capturing stories. So that then led me to my first real creative career. I convinced the person who was running the media show, basically, for the band The Flaming Lips. They're this indie band that's based out of Oklahoma. They're really great, psychedelic music. They hired me to basically do anything visual. I was doing animations, motion graphics, like stuff for their live shows, toys, posters, like anything visual they needed, I was doing. And it really fit into the way that I've been coming up, like what my mom had instilled in me, which was if there's a thing that's interesting to you and creative and someone else has done it, you could probably do it too. So find the information, the knowledge, and just do it. And so the band would be like, we want a weird toy. And I go, okay, great. I'll look something up. I'd find something strange. We'd collaborate on it. And I would learn how to make that thing really quickly. And it's because my mind already had learned how to fail and grow and how to improve. So I wasn't afraid of that. So here's how puppetry happened. So I leave the Flaming Lips, and it was I was with them for 4 years. It was amazing.
What a great name, by the way, The Flaming Lips. It's really sticking with me right now.
It's a really good name. Yeah, they're really rad. You might, if you like sort of indie psychedelic music, I think you'd be into them. They've been around since like the 90s. They're really great.
I feel that way when I put on a good Latina red lipstick. You know what I'm saying? When I leave the crib, I'm like, Flaming Lips, watch out, coming through.
That's how I feel when I get my like flaming hot Cheetos on my lips a little too much.
Ooh,
Yeah, then I've got some
yes.
flaming lips. But that's like a nice, like comforting,
Like a
you know.
tingle. Yeah.
So okay, so I'm in between jobs trying to figure out what to do. And I'd been curious about puppetry, and I at the time had made a new rule for myself. I said, if you want to do something new creatively that you haven't done before, you can't buy any material. You can't start it unless someone pays you to do it. And I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And so I reached out to a friend of mine who I had met through the music scene, who owned a car dealership. And I said, hey, I found this cool puppet video. You need commercials like this. And I sent it to him.
Ooh.
And he wrote back, oh my God, this is beautiful. Can you actually do this? And I lied and said, 100%, I can do that. I will make that for you. Here's the budget. Here's how long I need. Let's do this. And
but that's a good lie, because that just means you have passion. You want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So you had to do what you had to do. Just letting you know your excuse.
Well, no. And like, there's that whole thing, like fake it till you make it. And I believed that for a very long time, but I think that can sometimes be problematic, right? Like if you fake it till you make it, if you fake it, you aren't truly being it. You're just sort of like pretending to be it, right? Whereas like when my mom, she decided to start a house painting company. She had never painted houses before. So she was
I love your mom, by the way. Never met
incredible.
this woman, but my God, she sounds like an amazing Go Latina mom. Shout out to all the Latina moms out there, empowering and persevering and just being innovators.
That's right.
Just wanted to give a shout out.
No, and like powering us through everything. Like it's our mothers who are really the ones that push us and care for us and keep, really the world running, right? I mean,
I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad you did. Okay.
It's just the truth. I mean, that's just how it is, right? So my mom decided to start a house painting company, and she just learned how to do it and then started doing it.
Wow.
So it wasn't faking it. It was believing that you can do it and then just being it. And that was what I was doing with the puppetry. I was believing that I could do it. And so I said I could because I knew that I could. And then I took a week and I learned how to build puppets. I learned how to shoot puppets and
Wow.
perform them. And I made a commercial and it happened. I actually pulled it off.
Wow.
And what I learned was I really loved puppetry. This art form really spoke to me in a really big way. It was feeding my performer side, but it was also feeding my artistic side of like drawing and doing animations and doing characters. So it was kind of a weird sort of I don't know, amalgamation of everything that I had been doing for so long. So in that around that same time, I started dating my wife and we decided to move to New York. And I knew that at the time I didn't know where I was going to move. I knew I wanted to move somewhere. Cassie wanted to move to New York because that's where her mom's originally from. And she was like, I want to reconnect with heritage and like my family. And I was like, I just want to go somewhere. And I'm not crazy about California. It's where I'm from originally. And I was like, I want to go to New York, I think. And so we go to New York and I just plugged myself into the puppetry community, started meeting people, telling them like what I'm wanting to do, what I'm hoping to learn. And the community was really open to me, you know? And I was kind of surprised by that because usually when you're the new guy coming into an art scene, people are really like cautious of you because they're like, is this person competition? Is this person a potential collaborator who I don't really know? Whereas with puppetry, I came in and I was like, I just want to learn how to do this stuff. I'm just curious. And they just taught me. And so I learned from Michael Schupak, who used to run this shop in Alphabet City called the Puppet Kitchen. They were a puppet shop based in an actual kitchen, which was incredible. And
That sounds amazing.
it was so cool. And this was when was this? This was like 2013. And at that time, all the like up and coming puppeteers were all going there doing this thing called monitor nights, where we'd get together and we would practice our puppetry in front of a camera and we would lift each other up. We'd talk about like, what is it we want to work on and where do we see ourselves growing? And it was really a great place for me at that time to grow and learn. And from there, as I was building in my apartment, building puppets there for random projects and commuting to as many studios as I could, I made friends with my now really good friend, Liz Hara, who's an incredible writer. She's so cool. But she used to build at the Jim Henson Company that's based out there in Queens. Wow. And I said to her one day, because we get breakfast every morning is what we do, because we're early risers, and we sort of chat and check in and go like, how are you feeling? How's work? Like, what's going on? And we're talking and I'm like, you know, I really feel like I'm plateauing at my skills and I need to be somewhere that pushes me and challenges me. And I'm not sure where or how to do that, because I know that there's more to this medium. And I specifically wanted to work in television and film puppetry. And she was like, well, you know, I work at Henson and I know the shop manager fairly well. Why don't I connect you with them and maybe you can get an interview? So I got an interview. I go in, I bring my puppets and I'm like, here's this puppet I made and here's this other thing I made. And I'm doing this and like Oscar the Grouch is like right over there.
Oh my God.
Like, I know. And I'm like, okay, this puppet's not as cool as that puppet, but I made one. And they're like, your builds are great. Unfortunately, right now, we don't need anybody that does what you do. But Jason Weber, the shop manager, is like, but you're really intriguing to me. And that word really stuck out to me in the interview because he just kept saying it. He's like, you're really intriguing. And so we'll get back to you, but not now. Like, we don't have anything for you now. A month goes by. And at 6 a.m. on a Monday, I got an email that said, hey, David, we have a place for you. Could you come in and can you be here by 9 today?
Amazing.
And I said, absolutely. I'll be there at 9.
Amazing.
And I started working at the Jim Henson Company. And
oh my gosh.
it was magical. It's a truly magical space. And so I started doing a job called puppet wrangling on Sesame Street. which is where you're basically hair and makeup for the puppets. You put on their costumes.
Wow.
If Cookie Monster gets a tear, you go and sew the tear really quick and you put him back out there. You rig props. If a puppeteer's having a hard time with a puppet, you go, here's what I would do, or maybe here's an idea, or you'd fix something to help them be able to operate the puppet better. And the situation that this had created for me was not just a space for me to learn how to build, but also how to watch, or a place where I could watch the pros perform and do their thing. And so I was
What
like,
an
no one else.
atmosphere to be in. What an environment to be
Oh my
around.
God.
Like,
It's the kindest set in all of everywhere. Like, I've worked in a lot of different sets, and it is honestly the happiest set to work on. The sound guy at 5 p.m. walks
Imagine.
around and hands everybody a piece of chocolate.
I love him.
Because he's like, hey, I asked him, I was like, why do you do this? He's like, because everyone gets in a bad mood around 5 o'clock because they're hungry and tired. This little bit of insulin picks everybody up. And I was like, you're so right. You're so right.
That's like a Sesame Street thing to do also. It's
It
like,
really is.
here you go, everybody, a nice little treat because you're doing great.
Yeah. I love that place so much.
love that.
Frankie, one of the camera operators, camera one, has been there since day one of Sesame Street.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
talks like this. He's real old, and he has got his banana. I can barely do his voice. He's got a banana and like a Sudoku taped. His Sudoku is taped to his camera, and he's just like sitting there. And they're like, hey, Frankie, I'm having a hard time. He's like, I know, I got you. Hang on. And he already knows what the puppeteer needs. He's incredible.
Hey, kid. When I started here, it wasn't Sesame Street, it was Sesame Block. All right, kid.
That's right. Hey,
it was no pavement. It was all rocks. No shoes.
We got all crazy by, why you gotta take the New York out of Sesame Street, right? Like, it's a block. It's not a street. Come on.
Oh my God, I want to meet this fella. This fella sounds really impressive.
Beautiful man. But yeah, so I was watching them perform, and I also got to get close with the puppeteers as well and just get to know them as people. And watching them, I knew that performing, being on that side of the lens is where I really wanted to be. And so I started working harder towards that, making it known that's what I wanted to do. And I started reaching out, to Peter Linz, who plays Ernie, and a bunch of other Muppet characters. I don't want to go through all of them because there's so many. But he is such a sweet, beautiful human being. I reached out to him one day because I had heard that there was a Sesame Street puppetry workshop happening that was invite only. And sometimes I believe that you have to, open your own doors. You can't always wait for a door to open. You have to do what I call, which is just throwing that Hail Mary. It's just throwing it, hoping that somebody's there, hoping somebody will catch that ball.
Oh, is that what it means?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I had no clue.
I think that's what it means. It might not mean what it means, but I did that with Peter, and he was like, hey, I love your reel, but I don't make the decisions, but I will pass this along to the people who do. He passed it along. 2 weeks later, I got an email saying, congratulations, you're invited to come do the Sesame Puppetry Workshop. And that was the beginning of me really putting with the big guys, this is what I want to do. This is where I see myself. And I just kept working and working and working on my own content at home, and making sure that people knew that that's what I wanted to do. I'm realizing in this moment that you asked how I won this Emmy. I didn't tell you. So when I was puppet wrangling at Sesame, on season 50, huge year, right?
I'm just like, season 50. Wow.
Yeah. Huge season. I didn't think that I was going to work on that season, because I'd started kind of working there a little less, and I was performing a little more. But one day, towards the beginning of the season, they were like, hey, we need you to come in. We're not sure how long your contract will be, but we really need an extra person. Can you please come in? I came in and was just supposed to come in to build props. And that's what I was doing. I was making all these little tiny things, and, like a prop for Oscar or whatever, and that kind of thing. Making props for Oscar the Grouch are the best because they have to be grouched, which means they have to be made to look like they're just disgusting and gross and could come from the trash. So like there's never too much making it gross. You can never do too much. You just go as far as you possibly can. It's so fun. Whereas like
Yeah.
you make a prop for like Elmo, it has to be clean, or even like Rosita, it has to be clean and pretty, you know. And so you have to be careful with those props. But as I'm working, they were like, hey, we need you to go and catalog all the puppets in they have this space where they keep a lot of the puppets that they want close to set, but a lot of them hadn't been used in years or repaired. They're like, can you go through and catalog all the different puppets that need repairs? And so I went through and cataloged them and marked what they needed fixed and all that kind of stuff. And a week goes by and they're like, okay, cool. We need you to fix most of those puppets. And I hadn't done that for them before. And so I went through all these puppets from like the 60s and late 50s and started fixing them and replacing foam and rebuilding parts, repatterning things. And I ended up working on the season more than I thought I would. I was doing so much. I was doing props, building puppets. I was wrangling on the show. I was doing a ton. And then we, go on our break because we shot the season. We go into, that was the year that COVID hit New York City. And so immediately locked down, all my work out the window, didn't know what I was going to do. And about a few months into it, I think in the spring, we got an announcement saying that our team had been nominated for an Emmy. And
Amazing.
So we won this Emmy for our wonderful work on Sesame Street season 50. That's the long story of that.
And rock that. I would like find a chain that would support the weight and rock it around my neck
gosh.
like a gold piece, like next to my Jesus piece, I'd have my Emmy piece. Look, I need to talk about Waffles and Mochi.
Yeah.
Mochi's restaurant. Okay. You are working on an incredible show.
Thank you.
With none other than Eloeleros. Are you ready for this? Michelle Obama. Okay. An amazing show that is on Netflix right now that everyone can check out. I'd love to hear it because I know we've got to wrap up in a few minutes. I would love to hear about your experience on Waffles and Mochi's restaurant because you play Mochi.
I play Mochi. Yeah, I play a very small little pink ball named Mochi. He is Waffles' best friend, and they go on a ton of food adventures together. It is an incredibly adorable show. It's super funny. There's really great guests all throughout there. Arturo Castro's on one episode.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, and he is like some sort of ethereal spirit that just sort of like wisps in, is funny, and then just sort of wisps away. Like he truly is on another plane. Like he's just a really wonderful person. He's like a forest pixie or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, it was an incredible experience. Michelle Obama is so sweet and so kind. She's in person, she's exactly how you think she is. Like it's like hanging out with a family member. She's super kind,
Love that.
really down to earth, really relatable. It felt like I was like working with one of my tias, just like really sweet. Well, actually, no, I would say auntie, actually, because my tias are loud and like sometimes like super intense. It's actually a totally different vibe now that I'm thinking about it. But like Michelle Obama is really sweet, really kind, and super funny. She was
I feel
always
like my tia would be like, all right, everybody, here's some plátano maduro and queso frito. I feel like tia Michelle Obama's like, all right, everybody, here's some broccoli and a banana and some oat milk.
Oh my gosh. Like I think about it. I think about like my tia Deanna, and it's more like, that's not how I would make it. I don't know. No, what do you think? I know that's not how I would do it. And she would just yell about how it's not cooked right. And they're like, well, you get in here and do it. No, that's your job today.
Ay,
Like,
pero
okay.
échale más mantequilla. So
Yeah.
tell us about this show, because I know we've got to wrap up in a minute or two.
I'm
but
so
like,
sorry. I could keep talking to you forever.
Great,
yeah.
Well, because this is so, to me, this is unique as a mom. When I watched the trailer, I was like, oh, yes, this is true educational programming with fun weaved in and all these creative elements. So I don't want to give it away, but tell us about your involvement in playing Mochi. Sounds like fun.
So a lot of the show is it's based in a restaurant that Waffles and Mochi have opened themselves. The first season, they're working in a grocery store. They've moved down the street. They've opened their own restaurant.
I love
They have got this beautiful cafe in the front. It's gorgeous. And every week they are encountered by some sort of food emergency. And so there's an episode where it's Michelle Obama's birthday, but Mochi loves chocolate and Waffles loves vanilla. And so they need to decide which is better. So they go to where chocolate and vanilla originated. They go to Mexico. And it's a super fun episode. We shot for 12 or 14 hours. I think it might have been a 14-hour day at Teotihuacan. Full day at Teotihuacan.
No
shooting a puppet
way.
show.
At one
it
of
was-
the World Heritage sites of the world.
Yeah. And also spending the day with Rick Martinez. If you know who he was one of the main chefs at the Bon Appetit Test Kitchen. And now he does like his own books, and he's built a home. I forget where in Mexico he's built it, but he's back out there. And he's an amazing human being. And I really nerded out when I saw him because he was like, the only Latino person on Bon Appetit. No, that's not true. There was Gabby was there too, but he's just really cool. Anyhow, spent the day with him shooting at Teotihuacan, and it was just incredible. Like, it was a place that I wasn't sure if I'd ever get to visit on my own. And because of the show, I got to go there.
Amazing.
And not just Teotihuacan. I got to go, we go and learn how chocolate is made. So we go to this place where they're making chocolate in the traditional ways.
cacao.
Yeah, we
Cacao
got to
plant.
see fresh cacao. We got to see it after it had been dried.
I love me some cacao.
Yeah, traditional hot chocolate, the way it was originally made, which is delicious. It's incredible. Also, side note, if anybody's seeing those things where they're like, there's a traditional sort of like spiritual seance-y kind of thing that involves hot chocolate, it's a scam. It's a whole new thing that like is not even real. It's just an appropriation of our culture and heritage. Anyhow, end of side rant. Waffles and Mochi. We got to spend that day out there, and Waffles and Mochi come back to the restaurant and discover that vanilla, which is also originally from Mexico and the Latin Americas, they're both delicious and incredible. And together, they make an even better dessert, just like their friendship. And so they make a cake that is chocolate and vanilla for Michelle
Yum.
Obama. And that's what the show's about. The show's about embracing a lot of other morals like friendship and how to navigate situations with your friends or with a loved one, but also inspiring food curiosity, because that's where a lot of our curiosities as children begin, is with food. And if we can teach kids how to be adventurous with food, they can also become curious with other things in their life. And that's a big goal of the show.
I appreciate that, because that is educational. And I think if you start with that foundation of educating the children on why we're putting certain things in your body as parents, why there must be fruit, basically we learned about this when we were kids, but now I'm teaching it to mine. It's like the essential food groups and the nutrients needed, and just coming at it from that like bit of a scientific approach too, so they understand. So it's not just like, oh, mom's giving me our, the vegetables again.
Yeah.
I'd like you to understand why mommy has to put the vegetables on the plate. David Bizzaro, we got to wrap up here. I
Oh
feel
my
like we could
goodness.
talk for a long time. I mean, I
Ugh.
see puppets in the background. I want to see more puppets. Could you tell everybody where they could see more puppets? Like, how do they follow your career? Where can they follow you on social media? Tell the LOLeros, please.
Yes. So you can follow me. The best place to go is to my Instagram account. It's just at David Bizzaro. Bizzaro spelt with 2 Z's, 1 R. I'm the only one on there. And you can see me. I do a series called Cat Facts with one puppet named Jerry Fakakal. This guy back here, whose name is
Who is
Frank,
that?
appears on there. That's Frank.
Oh, hey, Frank.
Yeah. I saw a TikTok of a New Yorker just like explaining nothing but being upset about nothing, and that's who Frank became.
Frank. Oh, we
yeah.
all know a Frank.
We all know a Frank. And so you can go there and see what I'm working on personally, but also what I'm working on next professionally as well.
Well, David, thank you for your time and being here at the Latinos Out Loud podcast. What you're doing is exceptional.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
blessing us with all this knowledge. And I hope the LOLeros are as inspired as I am. I really loved hearing about your career and I can't wait to see what else comes of it. We'll be watching for sure. So please, everybody, one time, whether you're in your cars, pushing a vacuum, or maybe you've got puppets yourself right now and you're playing with them, please put your hands together for David Bizzaro. Thank you so much, David. It was really an honor. And catch him on Waffles and Mochi's restaurant on Netflix ahora mismo. Go ahead, dale pa allá. Thank you, David. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much.
much.
This was incredible. Thank you.
And we're back, you guys. What did you
Chole
think?
Rachel,
Told
this
you.
Bizarro
That
dude is
was
no joke, yo.
Bizzaro world over here.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Bizarro.
Wonderful. This has been a great and educational episode.
It became Bizzaro. This episode became Bizzaro.
Bizarro, yeah. But it's cool. All right, this is Latinos Out Loud. You know where to follow us, guys. If you're not doing that already, please follow us at We Are Latinos Out Loud on Instagram, on Twitter. We're Latinos Out Loud _. Please call us 978 Latinos. Please follow me personally, Rachel La Loca, Jay Ferns, Nibs 0125. That's where we at on Instagram. Follow us, people. A lot of good content on and off the mic. Guys, should we do it? Que lo que?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, que lo que, people. Hit it.
1, 2, 3, vamos a bailar otra vez. Que lo que, 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 que lo que. 1, 2, 3, menéate otra vez. Que lo que, 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 que lo que.
All right, friends, it is que lo que time. You know what time it is. Say it. Go ahead and say it. Que lo que. It's so fun to say. Que lo que, locos, mis locos, mis amigos. Que lo que, que lo que, que lo que, que lo que, que lo que.
Oh.
Who's gonna go first? This
Shout out. I'll just shout out. Started with Ghetto.com. Ghetto.com, news and lifestyle platform for Latino men.
Yes.
Ghetto.com. Go to the site. Check it out. There's some good content there. If you're a Latino, if you're a Latino male. But hey, Latino females, if you want to know more about Latino males, go to Ghetto.com too.
Ooh.
I love that.
You get the
I love
lowdown.
that.
And then
The
Jay
lowdown.
Fern's
They always want to know the
Instagram.
lowdown. They always want to know the lowdown. Always.
Jay Fern's Instagram. And if you are if you're not anti Elon, J_Fern's Twitter.
Oh shit! All right. Okay.
Anti Musk, anti Elon.
Anti-Musk. Okay.
Yeah, although my go-to perfume in junior high school was Jovan White Musk. Yeah, it
Really?
was.
Wow, Rachel.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm. I
Very
was on a
well.
Key Food salary. You know what I'm saying? Cashier. So.
From Musk till dawn.
Must
Oh
have done.
yes. Yes.
Okay.
Frank, do you have any like good que lo que? Because last time you like depressed us with the
I have very good news this
Gallagher
time around.
announcement.
This is good news, and you guys are gonna love it.
Carrot
From
Top
someone.
passed away the last
Yes,
time?
no, this is good. This is about life.
Stop!
This is about life. This is about like new beginnings, and I'm so happy to announce this. This is like huge. This is like for the Sonoros team, for us, for LOL. Our own Darilyn Castillo got married. I should change her name. Huh? She got married. She got married. Amazing.
Congrats,
I mentioned she
girl.
sang for the Nets the other days. Now she got married. So she got married to her husband. He's a Marine. I'm so happy for them.
That's dope.
Blessings to them. This is amazing. She put it up on Instagram. I started crying. It was amazing.
So excited.
Shout out to her. I think she's a beautiful person. I never met her, by the way, but she's part of the Sonoros crew. I love her. Dominicanita, mi panita. You know what? You know how we do.
Blessings
to her.
She's host of the Morenita podcast. So shout out
man.
to her. Check that out
Yeah.
also on the Sonoro Network.
Facts. Blessings to them.
Frank, you're so good with like the community shout outs, like the milestones, the wedding.
Yo, we gotta celebrate, our milestones, you know what I'm saying? Like, we always gotta set that marker. I think that's the worst thing that we do. We don't celebrate ourselves.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing Latinos do. We don't celebrate our wins. And we have plenty of them. We have to make note of them as we keep on going. They're
I
like
agree with that.
benchmarkers, man.
I really agree with that. And then when we celebrate our wins, we let other people know about those wins so that maybe one day they could win those wins too. And that feels really great to win
Thank you.
something and to pass the baton. It's so
Yep.
fulfilling. Literally, I was a baton twirler, so I know
I
what
know.
it
I
feels
seen you,
like.
man. I seen you twirl that shit. You know, jokes, son.
Don't make me get it right now. It's right here. Don't make me.
Yo, chill.
Oh, wow.
Yo, she's really getting it.
I'm always gonna cheer. I'm always.
Is
Rachel,
I'm
wait.
always-
Is that close to her already? Like, was she planning this?
I'm gonna do the outro of the podcast. I'm gonna do
Yo,
the outro.
Rachel,
the
your ceilings are
podcast.
low.
Oh,
Chill.
wow. I know. Watch out for that
I'm gonna
low.
do it. I'm gonna do the outro of the podcast while twirling.
Yo,
a
easy,
baton.
easy. You might hit the microphone, Rachel. Wow.
So,
Amazing.
It's
I
impressive.
just want to say thank you
Yeah,
so
you
much.
still got it.
Thank you to all
Oh,
the
wow.
abueleros. Thank
Rachel,
you so much. Did you see that?
okay.
I caught that.
She just
Did you
threw
see
it.
that
Oh, my Lord. Rachel,
Thank you
easy.
to the abueleros for your continued support.
Ooh.
Yes, I caught that one too.
Wow.
And I want to say thank you for rolling with us and for twirling with us and for
Wow.
everything that we do on the show and for just riding the waves. So yeah, really excited to hold this baton, and I'm very
Wow.
excited to also pass it. It's very important to take these batons and make sure you know, even before you pass it, let other people touch it. You know what I'm
Oof.
saying? Come here, touch it, and learn how to use this, because one day I'm going to give it to you and I'm going to pass it. On that note,
Wow.
make sure to pay it forward, people. It's very important. And there's a lot of Latinos and little Latinas out there that can sure use. Do you see that I'm ambidextrous with the baton, by the way? They could
I see
sure
that.
use the guidance. They could sure use the guidance. And if anybody wants to learn, how to twirl this baton and be
Wow.
like this with speed
A lot
and
of baton
agility.
twirling going on.
Woo!
Ah.
There it goes.
I feel like I'm
there
at
it
a
goes.
pep rally right now.
Yes. So go team LOL and go team everybody else.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for checking out the episode. On that note, we out.
Oh.